Hey, welcome to the Offspace podcast. Your host with the motherfucking most, Chuka Offer.
And it's your favorite co-host, As Go Offer. And you know what? I decided I'm going to go ahead and officially retire the nicknames for all the longtime listeners who have, responded to your boy as El Nino or the Boy Wonder. I appreciate y'all, and we're going to hold that near and dear to us, but I'm moving on to newer ventures. Stay tuned for the next.
I'm here to pod today, so I'm ready to call out bullshit. And one bullshit is, he said all of our listeners that refer to him, bro, you average one person ever referred to you.
I got three.
Three?
I got three.
Oh, word.
Yes, sir.
All right, and so we're going to knock out all of the awkward formalities, like just at the beginning of the podcast. Mm-hmm. So, one, if y'all hear a door open and close, we are not loaded yet, so the studio space is my living room. Shouts out to Spike Z behind the camera over there. And so that would be my roommate coming home. And besides that,
let's say we got to support the Pelicans in some way, and I have to know if they win this game. So I got about 3 minutes left. I'm not going to be actively looking at it. But again, the Offspace is the priority. And today we came to pod.
I never want to see Josh Hart handle the ball again. But we did come to pod. So that being said, how's your week?
My week's been great, man. I actually went on a very responsible 10-person or less social distancing, self-quarantining for 2 weeks prior cabin trip to North Carolina with the homies. I mean, shouts out to all of y'all. I can't go down and list everybody's name now, but if you know, you know. It was a fun-ass trip, and I'm excited to be able to have these little moments in between quarantining still where, we're not, like, being negative and spreading it to anybody or, like, being dangerous like that, but being able to get a breath of fresh air and see people that, you haven't seen since March, really, like, in a group setting, that's pretty cool. But, I mean, that's how my week's gone. How about you?
My week's gone pretty well. To be honest, there's two amazing things. We'll start off by saying big shout out to friend of the pod and somebody that I have mentioned on here before, my friend Brenna. She came into town to visit this weekend, and I showed her a couple of my favorite food spots. So I feel like I've gained 3,474 pounds because I've been trying to be healthy before me, Asgo, and my roommate's beach trip. So let's just say if y'all see Chuka with some sand, it's not going to be with abs. But shouts out to Brenna, and shouts out to her being not the first, but now the second person to come and cook for the Go Boys. So, I mean, we definitely we feel the real love from the homegirls that do just decide, hey, I'm bored, so I'm going to cook for these useless men. And so, you know what? Yes, all women. So that being said, moving on to the second and most important part of my week, though.
Yeah, I know where this is going to.
Your boy finally got laid off. Yes, sir, ski.
Hey, round of applause from the live studio audience. Can we get it?
But really, one, I don't want to undermine anybody's struggles or anybody out there who is genuinely their job is up in the air, because there's a lot of people whose jobs are up in the air, or B, people who are just very fearful of being laid off.
Yeah.
And the reason I have to just go ahead and just, I guess, seriously preface that is because of the excitement and the joy I felt. And it's nothing wrong with this company, and I'm not going to speak negatively about the company, truly, even though, we'll see if they like to fuck up with my last paycheck. Hopefully they don't, but for now, it's all positivity. But it's just a company that my time was done. My time had expired, and I'd been feeling like my time had expired. I know I've been feeling like that for months, as y'all know. I know that, yes, I was kept. I try not to say things like this just because I know what public perception looks like, but I understand that we are going through a racial tension, racially geared time, which is good because hopefully a lot of things get done.
Yeah.
That being said, it worked and it backfired for me. I was hoping to be let go from this job months ago. But then when they went and they fired every single intern, every other intern, during the layoffs, when they were restructuring with the COVID stuff, I happened to be the only black intern. And that being said, it seemed like there was some face to be saved, of course, the optics probably look crazy.
Started the BLM resurgence.
Exactly. The optics probably look crazy if you let go of the one black guy. So God answered my prayers, though. It only took a few months. They finally got rid of the kid. And so now I'm ready to just lock into A, school, and B, the Offspace. Really, that's we're ready to go. We're ready to go, and we've been ready to go. So shout out to Brenna. Shout out to my job for finally laying me off. Other than that, I guess just
I was about to say, on top of all of that, it's kind of, I feel like when you're in a space when you don't even want to be at your job, and again, this isn't like
you're the funniest person with that shit though,
dude.
Because this nigga always reaches a point where he's just like, "Bro, I'm done with this shit."
Yeah, like at the end of the day, when you're in your early 20-somethings, you're not in an established career, and you're just working jobs here and there to survive and take care of yourself and others, or whatever your situation may be. You're usually working things that you don't want to be in for the next few decades or so, until that retirement point hits. So I know usually the point for me is about a year, and I reached that at my job. It just kind of sucks when you're in a pandemic and, you already knew that the government wasn't taking care of the people in the best way that they should from just like a social standpoint and making sure that everybody is able to survive past a certain level. So when the opportunity does come when you're in a pandemic, in a weird way, I know how that sounds fucking terrible for a pandemic, for people to be happy about a pandemic in any way. But when it comes and you're able to make an actual livable wage from the government, it's giving you money, but you're not eligible to have that because you're part of an essential job that you go to and you don't really feel essential. It starts to hit certain points where it's like, it's more frustrating to be at your job first and foremost. And on top of that, it's like, you're missing out on that cash. So hopefully things continue. And at least in your case, you'll be able to take up some of these opportunities and benefits that weren't necessarily there before. For me, I'm just going to wing it and figure out what happens. But I was so over my shit. I'm just happy to be here and happy to be doing the Offspace.
Hell yeah. And I guess just in a moment of being vulnerable, just because like we did open up with we did have that long and needed talk about mental health last week. I wanted to go ahead and give updates on my behalf in terms of just like how I've been doing. Just because I've had like a randomly good as fuck last month or so, right? And obviously, like where it's sunny, like it will rain eventually, or there will be cloudy days. And so this week I did experience my first in a while, just like really low day. And usually those end up being like a day. No, those usually end up, you could ask my roommate, like we made jokes. Obviously it's not something to joke about, but it's just being real about like, there's no way my ruts last less than 4 to 7 days, like normally. Like it's like a nice little calendar. Like we know, all right, Chu could just hit down on Monday. We might be able to have fun on Friday. You know what I'm saying?
All right, we're going around for the weekend. Let's get him good by pregame time. Maybe, get a few shots in it now. But
it was just like hitting that low this week. I'm super proud of myself because it lasted no more than a day, right? But B, I'm also just proud about how I handled it, I guess, because I just did what I needed, right? And sometimes when the world becomes overwhelming, because I do have a lot on my plate right now, just like everybody else. I don't want to act like I'm different or I'm some like special case, but I guess I really just sat, let myself absorb, kind of planned to the best of my ability what I can and can do, saw what I can and can't control, and just decided to Millie rock through the bullshit and roll through the punches. And now I feel outstanding again. I feel really good. So I definitely wanted to give y'all an update on that.
Hey, well, shouts out to good mental health, man.
For sure.
I know I've just been in the same place, which is I'm good, but we're inside of pandemics though. That's really it.
No, for sure.
Hopefully, like when all this finally settles over, and however long it might take, another year, whatever, hopefully we can give a kind of a roundup and our afterthoughts on the experience of going through all of this. But again, and now since we're in the moment, it's not going to be as, surreal, I guess. And we're just going to have to keep it rolling, keep you updated on just life as we go. So I don't know about you, but let's go ahead and get into the rest of it.
For sure. Let's go into heat checks for the week. My heat check is coming from 2 Chainz mixtape, True Religion, and I believe...
Why did that sound so weird?
True Religion?
No, you said like mixtape or True Religions.
See, the worst part about us having video now is like when I have an edit like that and I'm trying to just like roll through it, if I get called out, like y'all are gonna get... I fucked up. But yes, but that being said, True Religion is the mixtape. It's a classic mixtape to me. I don't know if that shows Southern bias because I get called out on my Southern bias all the time. But that being said, 2 Chainz and Rick Ross have a versus coming up this week. And I definitely wanted to give everyone a little bit of flavor from an older project that I really found. It was the reintroduction of 2 Chainz because he had the... big hit with Players Circle and Lil Wayne, Duffel Bag Boy, of course.
Yeah, I was going to say, but that was under the old moniker, like,
That was Titty Boy,
yeah.
for sure. But then when he like rebranded, came back out and just started thugging again, the very beginning of his like legendary run that he had before all the good music stuff was the start with this True Religion mixtape. And so the song is KO featuring Big Sean. And I remember just the corniest moments because it's definitely a nostalgia song. This song is one that I remember just like, we all had these. Maybe it was just me, but you would play a song knowing that you had the girl in your car and you were hoping like that one line hits in the song, right?
And it's like all of a sudden we're getting into it.
Oh yeah, you're praying the one line hits. And like in this song, 2 Chainz says like, pull your panties to the side, let me slide through. Bro, you should see my ass in my fucking Camry back then just be whipping like this, you know, just looking crazy.
I feel like you hear a line like that, you immediately get out, you move to the back seat, you're just like,
oh, what? Like the girl sitting in the passenger, like I could just be giving like a homegirl ride or something like that. But you know, horny ass, you'd be sitting there like, oh, the line's coming up. What's about to happen? Never the reaction you thought. The reaction you thought. But shouts out to Chainz and fucking Big Sean.
Well, shit. Well, for me, my heat check this week comes from the old, I say old, but it's like a few years old, the Nav and MetroBoomin tape, Perfect Timing. And to be honest, I know this was about at a time where people were like, I'm really not rocking with Nav anymore. For some reason, they got tired of his music and annoyed with him. I don't know why it happened or for what reason, but for me,
this nigga put out the same song 47 times.
Okay, but no one gets mad at Travis Scott for it.
When has Travis Scott ever? All of his shit sounds different,
and all of Nas sounds different. People just don't want to admit it. That's all I'm trying to say. People like to hate on who they like to hate on. I'm not gonna past that.
We're not hating.
I'm gonna get to the actual song though, and so a song that I repeatedly come back to, and in this time of like this week, I know I wasn't really listening to much new music. It was a bunch of like throwbacks and older projects and like diving into. The single, because I don't know if it was the single at the time, but the song I Don't Care off of that tape was a very good song to revisit and listen to. And so if y'all want to, go ahead and check that out. Nav went and did his damn thing. And to be honest, I feel like it's definitely a vibe, especially if you're riding solo, just on some like feeling yourself shit and like fuck all else. Definitely go ahead and tap into that song to kind of play on that. So yeah, you got 2 good heat checks now. We can't give you much new music because, again, we probably weren't listening to new music this week, but we will give you at least our thoughts around the music world.
And there's a couple music updates I do want to give you guys. We didn't do our due diligence like normal, you know, listening to the new releases. I saw there was a Shoreline Mafia project, and there were a few singles that came out this week.
No, don't say didn't do our due diligence. Know why? Because some weeks you don't want to listen to new shit, all right? I don't care if you run a podcast or not. Some weeks you just want to listen to the whole shit, listen to what you want to, especially if you got things planned and you want to try and tap into a vibe. There.
Yes, and so taking our feelings out of it, like we definitely did do our fucking due diligence to our friends. That being said, it's okay. Like I don't care that we didn't do our due diligence. I hope y'all still love us. But I mean, that being said, I have an apology I want to issue.
To Jeremy Lin?
No, fuck Jeremy Lin. We're going to talk about that nigga soon. But I want to issue an apology to Juice WRLD and RIP to that man's soul, because I remember us having a long argument on the podcast probably like within the last year or so about the song Bandit featuring NBA Youngboy. And I was just very, very much on the side of NBA Youngboy smoking Juice WRLD other than the hook. But then we replayed the song like a few days ago, and
because I was driving, I decided to put it on.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, Juice skated on that shit. Juice definitely skated on that bitch. Like I think he ended up winning. So definitely want to give a big shout to Juice there. Once again, I'm not a Juice WRLD hater. I'm just not 19 to 22. So I'm not in the demographic of people that play his music over everybody else over and over all day.
Yeah, I mean, you can, do what you want. I actually remember because I think the conversation was on the second to last episode we had with Cullen. And so if y'all want to check that out, go ahead and dive back into it. It was hilarious because I know before the podcast, we always do like pre-productions and kind of like have these certain conversations, kind of try and tap into like just a certain realm and things like that. And they were just going on about NBA Youngboy. So it's nice to be able to see a little bit of recognition coming to a man who definitely deserves it. Let us smell the flowers while they're breathing though, but it's all right.
And in some sad music news, though, I want to say an RIP to 2 people. First things first, we want to give an RIP to Frank Ocean's younger brother. Ryan Bro. He died within the last couple of days in a car accident. So we want to send Offspace prayers and condolences to Frank's family and to everybody that has to, deal with that loss. Loss is not something easy to deal with. So we definitely want to make sure that the Offspace gives a heartwarming shout out to that. And then I also wanted to say an RIP to Malik B. Malik B is one of the founding members of the Roots.
Iconic group. Legendary group.
That has revolutionized late night TV in general, just with the Roots always being with Jimmy Fallon on late night, and B, just in the music world, that's going to be somebody that is truly, truly missed. So RIP to Malik B as well. Whew. And other than that, some small music news, I guess, that we had for the week is, well, it's not small because I don't want to ever undermine her strife, but Meg Thee Stallion finally popped back out. And she was on IG Live. It seemed to be something that was definitely more geared towards her fans and her fan base, letting them know, A, she's all right, but B, she was addressing certain people and kind of...
And the jokes around the situation.
The situation, which... A, I want to go ahead and just say we're never going to sit here and joke on the strife of anybody, especially a young Black woman. But B, I'm happy to just see her in seemingly good spirits while just awaiting the healing process of being shot in the foot twice. Happy to hear that there was nothing broken, anything like that. She's just waiting for her foot to heal.
Yeah.
But we just saw a lot of things that I never thought I'd see in hip hop. Like, really, one, we've never seen anything like this before because you've never seen somebody just like awkwardly randomly shoot a woman. But B, it's just like on top of everything else, we even saw the likes of like 50 Cent, which 50 Cent I never have seen 50 apologize for anything, but even went out of his way to apologize about the jokes he made during the Meg situation. And she addressed certain things that you could tell have been bothering her, and she wasn't allowed to properly, I'd say, like grieve and go through like the losing her mother within the last year or so. She's now on top of the world, Beyonce feature, one of the #1 songs in America, etc. But it's like, that's got to be tough when, especially in a situation like, I can only speak for myself with how close I am to my mom, but it's just like she was talking about her mom like that's her best friend. And so just like seeing how the world's treating you right now, like with all the bullshit going on, the jokes being made about your situation, and you don't even have your best friend with you who is a young lady at that point. I think her mom was only in her 50s, right, before she passed, maybe in her 40s. So our love and prayers also go out to Meg Thee Stallion during this tumultuous time in her life as well.
Yeah, I know, and backtracking and revisiting the last episode, I think it was, because I know there were certain things on there. At the end of the day, we run a podcast where I know sometimes we try and be entertaining, comedic, and I know the jokes during that weren't necessarily based around Meg, rather than Tory Lanez looking a fool.
Looking crazy.
And being stupid, but definitely, of course, wanted to hit on the fact that we never mean any harm again to people who are really going through shit and can have this not just alter who they are, because like this I don't know if anybody's been on the like other end of a gun, but that's a position you never want to be in, right? So to have that happen to somebody, just in the psychological effects, let alone the physical, that could have like came from, again, if this did damage to her foot and she wasn't able to like perform a certain way or be on stage a certain way, because I know that is a big inhibitor to you, people, especially when that's your prime way of making money. You gotta feel for somebody at that point. So again, shouts out and happy that she came out on the other side, able to handle it the best way that she can and in the manner that she is.
Amen. And then the last bit of music news I had for the week, though, was I wanted to give a shout out to Logic for his album being...
Whoa! I gotta flame a little bit.
No. I'm still never pressing play on that album. Let's be very...
I never said that you are. Okay. I'm just saying, you're Chuka giving Logic some respect. I'm happy to see it.
Oh, it's just because I give credit where credit's due, always. And Logic got his 5th #1 in the hip-hop category with the release of his final project. And so big shouts out to him. There's so many people eating off of that, and I'm proud of everybody, that can have those achievements, because there's definitely producers on there that this is going to be their first #1 album they were a part of, etc. So once again, we're just happy for them. He sold 211,000 units. And so that's very respectable, very, very respectable. And moving on as well, there was the number 1 overall spot that was given to an album that I did say I will visit when it's colder, but I do want to give, once we're giving respect where respect is due, respect to Taylor Swift for selling over 800,000 units and taking the number 1 overall spot this week. So once again, shouts out to both of those people and their achievements in music for the week.
Yeah, I was going to say, kind of as this is going on and you're seeing him roll out his final album. And again, I just did a little search because I was trying to make sure myself. I see that he was nominated for 2 Grammys in the past, but he hasn't ever really won anything, especially being an artist, though, who's consistently on like the top charting for like the genres of music that he makes and different things. And that scared me. And different things that he does. Could this be the time that Logic finally wins that Grammy?
No.
Because of the knowing that it's his final like chance at it?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
You don't think?
No. Absolutely.
And is this personal bias at all acting into it, or do you have any basis for that?
It's no personal bias in the slightest, actually. It's just, it's just taking how I feel about his music completely out, right? 2020 is going to be a hard year for a lot of artists, right? Because of not just speculation, but even announcements, right? In music. We've had a tough-ass year musically that got halted at about March because of Corona. And so we have a very, very dense end of the year coming because a lot of these artists are still on path to release in 2020. So do I believe that Logic's album is going to reap rewards in terms of just like the highest high with like the Grammys, etc.? No. But is it something to still be very proud of as an exit to your career? Happily, because you see his age, he's still a young man, and he signed a deal with Twitch, right?
Yeah.
And so he's going to be moving into another medium. He's going to be moving into, he's always been the video game guy.
Yeah.
We've always seen Logic challenge other rappers, other artists, other people in entertainment, etc. to video games. So now that he's going to be video games kind of full time, I think it's just such a poetic end while you're still on top, you know, for your career, and transitioning to the second half of your career, which I think is going to be bring even bigger and better things for him in the first place.
I think that's definitely interesting to see. I'm not holding any stock into what's going to be released throughout the year, even though I know there was a lot of anticipation and hype for certain artists that pretty much confirmed they were dropping music. But with the pandemic going on, we really don't know how that's going to affect everything. However, it can't continue for much longer, so they might just say, fuck it anyways. However, I know it's funny because you brought up the Twitch thing, because what sparked the thought of it was, because I know I saw a clip of like, I guess him streaming, and he was giving what he would have done as a Grammy Award winning speech, just in case he never got it, because he's pretty sure he's not going to get it.
Oh, he has to be real.
And so that was cool to see. I mean, if he does, shouts out to him. If he doesn't, who gives a fuck? But, you know, moving on to
the actual, and this is something I wanted to mention before we have an intermission topic, which I think is an interesting topic to speak on before we get into more celebrity news. But this one was the last bit of music stuff we were going to talk on. 2 Chainz and Rick Ross once again have a versus battle coming up. I don't know if this is necessarily who the masses wanted to see versus Rick Ross because of how extensive, how long his catalog has been and how long he's been on top. But I think a lot of people got 2 Chainz fucked up. While I may be one of the people that truly believes Rose is going to win, I would have it at like a 12-8. Right? Maybe an 11-9. I see a lot of people going 15 plus on Rick Ross's side, but we have to remember that both of those artists have 3 to 4 Drake features. You know what I'm saying? Like they have a Drake bag, and that's just hard to beat depending on the placement, you know, like how they ended up placing these 20 songs. But 2 Chainz has a lot of hits. We remember him even coming out on that Mercy verse, I feel like it was, where he was talking about 100K for a feature, eater, the sound of the bed, beat it up, then I get some head. Like, we forget that some of the most quotables during a lot of our formative years did come from 2 Chainz. So we have to be real there. I
ask myself, though, are all of these songs your song and then maybe like a dual song, blah, blah, blah? Or is it one, can they also throw in songs that they featured on, like producers threw in songs that they had a bit of a hand in? Because
it's featured songs.
Because if 2 Chainz able to throw in his features, I don't think people realize this, but there's a king of features in the rap game, historically speaking. And his name is Titty Boy. His name is 2 Chainz. If he's able to come with his bag of features, he can pretty much, I feel like, take on a lot of the top names even still in the game. Because if we're looking at just even one song that comes to mind that I feel like is beating whatever's played against it, is Fucking Problems.
Fucking Problems is a point. But it just depends, though, because Rosé has a lot of them, too. It's because it's like, what's 2 Chainz going to do when Diced Pineapples comes on? Bro, Lord Knows comes on.
If he played Fucking Problems, they beat out both. Genuinely speaking, that shit was too big of a hit. But way too many numbers, way too many, like, still being played even to today.
And that's what I like about Versus. It just depends on who you speak to, I guess, with these battles, if it's like the better song or the bigger song, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm just excited to see it play out because I think, once again, it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
Yeah.
But speaking about celebrities, I wanted to ask you a question, right?
Yeah, go ahead, man.
All right. We're now speaking about the Hall Pass.
Hall Pass.
And one thing that I've had within my last few relationships, my last few situations, like whatever, is like...
Yes, we got a situationship.
My last few entanglements. We've had a discussion early on about like celebrity crushes like everybody else does, right? And I try to stay brutally honest with my celebrity crushes and everything like that. In terms of, I hope you have one that is in the pocket, like for real. Because if I were to blow...
Are we letting this air out now? Because at the end of the day, I plan on the Offspace, taking it to a certain level in a certain place. I'm not trying to, ruin my chances or anything like that.
For sure. But here I'm going to use a typical name, and baby girl already knows how I feel about her because of how much I've texted her, you know what I'm saying? The voicemails I've left, it's nothing. But
oh shit, she hasn't gotten back to you yet?
She hasn't gotten back to
Chuka. It's
been
months.
It's like, I make it very clear. There's no level that I can love you that when Rihanna calls, I'm not jogging half naked across the United States. I might crawl.
How would I know?
I might crawl counties across so that I can lay in there, so that I can dive into the fountain of youth. And so I always tell my partners or situations, whatever the fuck we want to call them, even if it's just a theoretical situation, because I'm Chuka Offer. I may never meet Rihanna, like God willing, truly God willing one day. But I always tell them there better be somebody on your end that is the super automatic hall pass that I'm not even tripping on. Because if I find my way to Rihanna,
I already got
you're with me, you know what I'm saying? Like you can dive your DM or somebody dive into your DMs, whatever, and you figure it out. And
so this is under the assumption though that it's already known that you have that. So I feel like that makes it a lot different because I don't feel like there's a single hall pass out there that I could just catch somebody by surprise. Like, I've been dating you for 3 years. Not gonna lie, I walked into the room with Georgia Smith the other day, and you wouldn't believe what happened. Like, I don't think that's even the
Nah, I try to establish that pretty early though, and women have given me a lot of similar answers. Don't get me wrong. Like, there was the one girl said Chris Brown. We're not even gonna get into that. But then, like, I heard Trevante Rhodes a couple times, which is fine. Like, whatever. Like, that's understandable. Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful male. To be quite honest with you, y'all go do what you got to do. I'm gonna call Rihanna up. You FaceTime me. I'll tell Trevante. He said, "What's up?" I'll have Riri sing you a bar. You know what I'm saying? Good partnership. But I mean, like, I don't know. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, if a girl told you, like, let's just say you randomly, the chick you were talking to randomly just blew up, right? Mm-hmm. And she said, "Yo, easy money. Trevante just called me. We're going to the Caymans right now." Are you tripping? Because it's like a dream celebrity crush for her? Or
you want to know what I know? What? You want to know what I think? You want Trevante who? You want fucking who? I be tripping like shit where I am right now. I'm not in a place I could do that personally. I know that. So I couldn't even be in an open relationship. I feel like that shit's hard. The hall pass, that's a slippery slope down the same shit. You got to be the same type of secure. However, if I was in the position where I had a hall pass, Kehlani, what's good? Let's make it happen.
This nigga backwards, bro. This nigga backwards. He said he would have an aneurysm. He had a whole vein pop out thinking about her with Trevante, but he said Kehlani.
Nah, but reasonably speaking, I know that my partner would probably be on the same wavelength I am with these certain things. So they'd probably be tripping too. So I feel like in my situation, that hall pass would never fucking happen. So I'm gonna just come at people single. Make it happen.
Do you think though that in general society, I guess like what's going on right now, do you think the celebrity hall pass is a realistic thing?
I think.
Do you think it's just a pipe dream until you're gonna see some shit that you don't want to see? Like until you see somebody, like do you think it's just
okay? So if you think about this, you know how people always you'll have like girlfriends, whatever, ask you like stupid fucking questions, like if somebody threw me into space and I died, would you be mad? It's like Yeah, it's like the obvious shit, right? But these are things that you never expect to happen, so people don't hold too much weight to. So when you're talking in a room with like somebody that you're with or whatever, and it's like, okay, so let's say in your case, let's say you were talking to her, hey, baby girl, let's just say this. You know, me and Rihanna met up one day and we kind of hit it off. Would you be mad? And she'd be like, hell no, Rihanna, she bad. You know, do your damn thing. Knowing damn well that she doesn't think you're ever going to even be like in the room with Rihanna. She thinks, stupid, I'm not going to let you get the chance.
But then she sees the blue check in my messages.
Exactly. So at that point, it's a whole different conversation. I'm only saying it's a thing because people don't realistically think you're ever going to be in position to make it happen.
Oh, you think it's the cool girlfriend fallacy? Like, and I'm not even just saying this for women because obviously men do this shit too.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing about the cool girlfriend, cool boyfriend thing is like, which I've been in situations in the past, and I feel like everybody's been in situations like this, and this has happened more than once, don't get me wrong, but where someone says something that is against their comfort level so that they can be cool, quote unquote, to their partner, right? So they'll be like, yeah, of course, bag Rihanna. And then they see like the check mark text, and it's just kind of like the gulp, like the look into the camera. So if you're wondering how we got here,
like, rewinds like 10 years to you dancing to fucking like some Umbrella, Ella, or some shit. Nah, that's hilarious.
Imagine being sick to your stomach when Umbrella comes on. Ponde Replay comes on. And
bro, nah, it's crazy. Because imagine like, you know, she calls you up or something. You're on FaceTime. She's like, hey, how you doing? And then all of a sudden she just hears like Umbrella or some shit in the background and sees you chilling out like Turks and
What kind of sick,
the whole vibe
what kind of sick human being do you think I am that you think I'm beating Rihanna down with Ella, playing in the background? Rihanna probably never lets niggas play music because they try to play, ooh, sex with me. Imagine being Rihanna, bro, and knowing that every nigga that comes into the room is trying to play sex with me, bro, and hoping that you really do make it amazing.
All right, then stop making music like that then, all right? Sometimes you gotta suck it up. No, that's funny. But I know past that, what are we trying to get into today? The Offspace has a lot more to deliver to the people.
Well, one thing I wanted to go ahead and say is my weekly fuck you to Terry Crews. I hope that you lose your platform.
This man has prime real estate in your head, though, by the way. But I agree with you on all of these.
This nigga made an acronym for the word coon. Of course he has prime real estate in my fucking head. Because for some reason, this nigga's still getting retweets and mentions. Like, this nigga said...
Wait, click on the retweets for a second. And I promise you see 3 people with a MAGA hat if you scroll down at their Abbeys.
No, it's a bunch of white people.
1, 2, 3. All right, found them.
But the acronym is conquer our own negativity. He wants black people to reclaim the word coon by conquering our own negativity.
Wow, so inspirational.
One thing we are going to just say is a big fuck you to that guy.
Wow.
Second thing, if we want to talk about just MAGA news, Trump did the first positive thing I've ever seen Trump do. And he said he's banning TikTok. So round of applause for our
friend. You're going to get us canceled with Gen Z. Bro.
I'm going to get us canceled so quickly.
Yo,
I love Gen Z. I love
people
TikTok.
23 and under, I don't agree with this shit.
I love TikTok.
I'm not on TikTok though anymore.
No, bro, that data collection ass app, bro. Like,
dude, I'm not into spyware. I don't know about y'all, but I try and have my antivirus up for a reason. Jeez, I'm not downloading it straight onto my phone.
So definitely that's debatable. But in general, though, just because we see how TikTok kind of runs the music industry, right? In terms of just like a lot of the popping songs on TikTok end up charting. And their songs a lot of the times that don't chart without something like a TikTok, right? And so how do you think that would affect the scope of social media right now with how big of an impression TikTok has if TikTok really was just banned?
Well, yeah, okay, so I'll say
One, do you think it's going to actually happen?
I'll say this.
2, do you think, what do you think the effects would look like?
Yeah, so first off, that's not going to happen. 2, I was having a conversation. Why?
Do you think they're going to block it?
I don't think he has the power to block it. Like, how can he do that in America? We don't believe in censorship. We don't believe in a lot of these different things. And yeah, there's been a lot more companies doing a lot more fuck shit that have not had their opportunities and like their products blocked from the consumers. Like, we live in America. It's very hard to get something like that done.
Yeah, but it's our president.
Yeah, okay, and you're president. But past that point, it's like I was having a conversation with a friend, shout out to Andrew, who was we were talking about TikTok because his little sister's like addicted to it. Like a lot of like really young people, right? Mm-hmm. And so he was telling me that they were having a conversation about TikTok getting banned, correct? And she was telling him, what is she going to do when it's banned? What is she going to do with her free time? Is she going to have to go back to YouTube? So think about how many people are on TikTok right now. And if that many of them share the same sentiment, like what to do now, are they gonna have to go back to other platforms? It's gonna be like a power grab again for these other like social media platforms or like entertainment platforms or whatever to kind of bring these consumers back in and implement TikTok-esque features onto their platforms for consumers to get that a little bit of a feel from. So if TikTok really does go away in the US, which it won't, but if it does, expect a lot more revamps coming into your favorite platforms.
Especially on like Triller and stuff like that too. That kind of just got their lane jacked. I feel like that would just give room for them to snatch their area back and their market share back. Yeah. Just because like, Instagram would add something TikTok like. Twitter would add something TikTok like. Facebook's probably already working on it once Trump said the shit. But it's like, we have those platforms for different reasons. And I think how the platform is set up of TikTok is the reason why kind of Vine-like, etc., with like the quick form videos or whatever, is the big draw, right? Because you can kind of ADD out on that app because you just scroll and it's video. If it was like a TikTok option on a different app, I don't think it would fly as well. So I think it'd be easy for an app that is more set up like TikTok to kind of just claim the market.
I feel like that one's a little tough though when you look and you see that Triller never really blew up like TikTok did. So it's one of those like if it did go away and like you could say it bit its style and stuff, which it definitely did. It's hard to say that it'd get popular if it never really blew the same way beforehand, but who knows? And this would be cool to see. I kind of want to, you ever have that feeling where you just want to fast forward 30 years into the future and just kind of like peek for a second to see what's up?
The only reason I've ever wanted to fast forward to the future is for the sheer fact of just like knowing who wins like the 2021 World Series or something like that, and then just going at the beginning of the season.
I'm going crazy,
and just going stupid. I don't want to ever know like what my future's. I don't want to know what my future looks like. I don't want to know like who I marry, how many kids, blah blah blah. Never. I just want the one ticket that's going to get me this money, so that I could immediately drop out of school, so I could immediately offer a good seat at the table to shouts out to Spike Z, and be able to pay people and do shit I actually want to do and just create content. So I would just bet on one thing, make it ass load of money, and then just fully focus on the fucking Offspace.
Right, that's cool.
That's really good.
I was gonna say that Instagram has been trying out like a feature called Reels in Brazil and like foreign markets for like the past couple of months. So they get ready to like take on TikTok right now.
So Instagram already has like a TikTok-like feature. It's like, called what?
And they're just testing
Reels?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so Reels is already out there.
Yeah, so just about time to come to the US.
Hey, okay. I guess they've already been gearing up for this shit, to be completely honest.
I know Twitter was implementing something in like South America too that was essentially stories, but with like tweets that were stories, so they're not permanent for, I guess, cancel culture reasons, but that people can air their shit out and have a little bit more fun and things like that. And that's kind of nuts too. You're seeing a lot of these companies trying to test things out in these different places. They shout out on the information, Spike Z.
Yes, sir, ski. But we have two last things I wanted to say before we get into sports news, and we have a decent amount of sports news today, to be honest. But one is I'll let Ezgo handle this one.
I'll say it.
Herman Cain passed this week.
I know a very controversial person who, to be admittedly speaking, and I'm not gonna go ahead and talk down on him post like this because that's weird juju, but y'all understand what I mean. Very controversial person in the past for different reasons and kind of like working with Trump, this, that, and the third. Actually just passed due to coronavirus after he got it at the Trump rally. I think it was in like South Carolina or North Carolina. And yeah, he died at 74 years old. And the night before he died, which is kind of weird because if you knew you were that close to death, it's weird to be tweeting about certain things like this instead of, spending time with your family. But he was tweeting about how there's a lot of reasons why people are still skeptical about coronavirus and, trying to politicize it again. And then he ended up passing the next day. That's very weird and very hard to hear. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but he's out of here, man. And I'm not going to lie, that's definitely someone I expected to hear their name a lot more for at least the next decade.
One thing I will say, and I'm going to err on Ezgo's side here in terms of just not disrespecting the dead, even though I have no positive things to say about Herman Cain. That being said, do not, and I repeat, the devil is coming for anybody. The Grim Reaper is coming for anybody. God is coming for anybody. Nobody is safe from dying. We all bleed the same. We all bruise the same. We all get hurt the same. So y'all motherfuckers out here who are not taking certain shit serious, who are acting like certain shit isn't real until it happens to you, we just won't be surprised as the general masses when it does happen to you. And that's all I will say about that situation.
I was that motherfucker, man. I'm just saying. I was very loose with certain things once our governor opened up the state of Georgia again. And my ass ended up getting fucking sick. and we're feeling like shit.
And we're still working our lungs back.
I was about to say, and I'm trying to get my health back again. I'm trying to be active as I was before, which is very tough. And I know I was never at the same point as others where I was on like a respirator and all these other things. But at the same time, all this shit is real and you don't think about it until it affects you. And I know after we were doing the right thing, people started thinking and asking themselves, is this even real? Of course it doesn't feel like it's real if you're not seeing the effects of it. If you're doing the right thing, let's keep that shit up.
Exactly. Like one of my homegirls just told me, because she's from Boston, she was talking about, since that was one of the states, one of the cities that it was hit with earlier, that is handling it a lot better than other cities like New York, et cetera, that kind of had to learn as they go with the pandemic. Like one of her close friends' father passed. You know what I'm saying? Like we have many of people in other states who are telling us every single day about how serious this is and how real it is. And there are still dumbasses in the fucking South where we live and just like certain other places in the United States who are acting like this shit is real.
I have friends who have cousins who have been on respirators and like ventilators, and in comas for months. Exactly. And, like the shit is real. So
and just keeping it on politics for one more second, Ezgo was talking to me earlier about a marijuana vote with the DNC.
Yeah, so I'm not saying it was necessarily a DNC, and let me pull this up so I'm like not fucking up the actual details, because over here on the Offspace, we care about a few things. But one thing we care about is being correct. We're given bro facts or whatever sometimes, but we're trying our best. I see this. Okay, here it is. So the Democratic National Committee's platform committee voted 106 to 50 to reject an amendment to endorse legalizing marijuana.
It's just like the jig is up. The jig is up, and I just want to be very clear, because most of us with half of a working brain in this United States understand how a lot of these systems work, right? Mm-hmm. And something is usually illegal. Something that shouldn't be illegal, I'll say that, is usually illegal until they can find the right people that they would like to make money off of it to gain the proper market share, right? And so the reason it's taking so long in certain states for marijuana to be legalized is because the licensing, right? Just like casino licensing or anything else. Their licensing for the marijuana, just the buildings, the farmland, etc., is all currently being purchased and bought up by the rulers of capitalism, the old white folks. And so once it gets spread out the right ways, then legislation will start being passed, because the right people, the right quote unquote people, will be able to make money off of it. And so since we've known for this fucking long that there's nothing wrong with marijuana, like that marijuana isn't causing anything negative. Yeah. There's so many people's aunts, uncles, cousins, etc., that are now in jail and prisons for life for years, that are still sitting because of not that much of a non-lethal substance and not that much, and for non-violent drug-related crimes. I think since all of us know the jig is up, we need to finally just go ahead and let it go. Like, we got to admit we fucked up and keep it pushing.
I think there was an interesting point brought up too about the whole situation, especially when it comes to like the legalization of marijuana in this country. Let's say like in the little hippie revolution or whatever, the public perception changed heavily on just how many users there were out in like the general populace, right? And what are the people in the 70s, right, who were probably smoking? What are they, born at the end of like the 50s? So if you have people in that position, then it makes you wonder, okay, so at this point, if I have people born at the end of the 50s who are a lot of people who are in, I guess, on the positive side of like legalization of marijuana, and let's say it only keeps increasing. So let's just say 1960 even, up until now, 60 years later, people under that age, we have to start asking ourselves, if what is the real opposition if people up to 60 years really don't give a shit about marijuana?
They
What
don't
is
care.
the real opposition?
Like, that's the craziest thing is they don't care. Like companies don't really care about weed. Like let's be real. As long as you're not stoned at work, like you should never be under any influence of anything. Like niggas shouldn't be at work drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just common sense.
Yeah.
As long as you're not doing this, there's never been any issues. So it's always been weird to me. We'll keep you guys posted on the voting for that. And
Moving
then
forward, I guess if it gets introduced again in certain ways or whatever, but it's always going to be out there because people really want this shit done.
And then one last thing before we get into sports news is there's a whole debacle which we're going to do more research on and give you guys more information next week for sure. But I did want to point out that I'm seeing rumblings about this whole Ellen situation.
And it's been happening for a while.
And it's been happening for a
it's
while.
Weird because, I feel like just like the Bill Cosby situation, when you first started hearing about it, people immediately dismissed it like it's crazy. But now we're seeing that it might really garner some type of like validity to it.
Well, just 3 days ago, Ellen was apparently it was being reported that Ellen reportedly wants to end her talk show. And so people are saying like whatever they're accusing her of, she definitely did that shit. Because with how much money that talk show makes, the biggest talk show since Oprah and the biggest talk show in the world after currently running. If you randomly just want to end it while you're now being put in the spotlight, something probably nuts is happening. That being said, they have been discussing potential different hosts. There's been a lot of leaked information about like just the vile work environment that is under the Ellen show. There's been a lot of information in the last probably like 5+ years pointing more towards Ellen possibly not being as great of a human as we all are sold to believe. And so we'll give y'all more updates and we'll keep everything going with that as things go along and as things progress. I just thought it was interesting to bring up because it is once again something like Ezgo said, when all of this Ellen stuff first dropped probably like a year-ish ago when they slowly started to bring more light to the situation, I just kind of dismissed it because Ellen's always been looked at as like a little sweetheart, to be completely honest. But I mean, like we've learned of a lot of people and a lot of things as of recent, a lot of these motherfucking sweethearts aren't as sweet as y'all think.
Man, shit, we thought, what's her name from Full House was a sweetheart, and all of a sudden you figure out that she's scamming people to get her children into top colleges. So people are down to do whatever, man, and everybody's got shit that stinks. Just something to take away.
And
Lori Loughlin, there we go. And then for the sports news, I wanted to go ahead and give shouts out to the young goddess and young queen Sabrina Ionescu, because she just brought in all of my desire to watch the WNBA. I've been trying to keep up with her highlights and everything going on with her because I think she's the future and the truth of basketball, male or female. She's just one of that cloth